when I first started practicing, I was in Nepal, and there was this temple, and this temple it was called Swayambhu, and it had all of these steps going up to the top. And all along these steps are beggars. And the whole time, actually, that I lived in that country, because I was a non-Nepali person, Memsab, people were tugging on my shirt all the time, rupees, paisa. And your compassion starts to wane after a while when somebody's always begging you for money. So we're going up these steps and going to seek the teaching of the enlightened Rinpoche. And what is the nature of the teaching is to become compassionate and generous and kind and wholehearted and all this stuff. And all the way up, everybody's grabbing, begging, pulling, yanking, I want money, I want this. And I'm getting more and more irritated with every step up this mountain. So finally, on the outside, because the little voice in my head said, you really ought to give a couple of rupees, here you are going to get the Buddha's teaching. So I gave this woman these rupees, but I was like pissed off. I didn't want to give them to her. It wasn't the money, it was just like, get off of me kind of mind. So outside, correct action, inside, not so good, right? So then I got really stuck. I was like, wow, that's my question I'm going to ask when we get in there. Like, what is that a good thing I did or a bad thing? What was that? And there's this guy sitting on the top, Trangu Rinpoche, a big fat guy, young, really a great guy. He's probably only about 30 years old. He's literally in a throne. He's in this giant, like all bright red satin and golden colors and all kinds of stuff like that, only much more so. And he's sitting there on this high throne, and he's barefoot, and he's got the maroon robes on and everything, and he's clipping his toenails with this huge Swiss Army knife that clearly some Western student had given to him as a gift, It had all the attachments, the corkscrews, the spoons, all the stuff sticking out. It was like this big. And so we're there, me and a couple of friends, and I'm like shaking and nervous, and I want to find myself, and I feel terrible about the rupee thing, and totally self-conscious and just a mess. And so here's this guy, and he's clipping his toenails the whole time, like really snipping them. They're like flying in our face. And so he's like, and he's got the heavy accent, he's like, well, what's your question? And he's like clipping away, and we're kind of distracted, kind of staring at the toes and the Swiss Army knife. And I said, so here's my question. And I told him what had happened. We came up the mountain, and I did the right thing on the outside, but on the inside, I didn't have a good mind. I was angry. So I said, is that a good thing, or is that a bad thing? Is it your intention or your direction, or is it your action? So he's clipping, and he says, if you want to practice generosity, he said, first, give something of yourself, or give something that you own that you really don't like at all, like an old ratty t-shirt, you don't want it anymore. He said, and take that and give it to someone that you really love. And so we're like, okay, I could do that. And he said, now, when you master that, take something that's very, very precious to you that you really treasure, some special thing, and give that to someone that you really love. So it's okay, a little harder. But he said, and then when you master that, take the thing that you don't like at all, that means nothing to you, and give it to your worst enemy. I thought, okay. And then he said, and when you master that, then take the thing that you really love the most, that's really special to you, and give that to your worst enemy. Something, that would be pretty hard, So we're sitting there, we're taking it all in. And then he looks at us and he says, and if you can't do any of those things, he said, you must practice like this. And he took his Swiss Army knife and he said, right hand giving to left hand giving to right hand giving to left hand giving to right hand. And so we started laughing because the absurdity of how basic that would have to be, how barbarically ignorant we are, that we would have to actually practice our right hand giving to left hand, you know. But it also, the depth of that teaching really like kind of creeped in over the years. It still creeps in. I think of it a lot. That is really what this is all about, is that we are right and left of one another. You know, it's like, how is it different, self and other? Right hand giving to left hand giving to right hand. It's all the same body. So that kind of is the same point of like what's inside and what's outside with your job. So it's what is your mind? If your mind is clear, your direction is clear. Your direction is clear, anything you do is clear. Killing, lying, cheating. If your direction is for the benefit of others, to save all beings, you know, then that's a clear action. You're welcome.